And you're still here on NewDay on TV3. Welcome to the big issue. My name is Beatrice Edu. And like we were telling you earlier, today we're going to look into that new suit filed by the dismissed Supreme Court judge and, of course, former CJ Gertrude Torkornoo. This time around, she's at the High Court challenging her removal as a justice of the Supreme Court. I'm sure if you followed the conversation, that dismissal letter, as it were, coming from the presidency, it stated that she had been removed from office as a justice of the Supreme Court as well as a Chief Justice. And so she's challenging the first bit, which is she being removed from office as a justice of the Superior Court. And of course, we'll also be going into that suit again filed by the 11 out of the 14 deportees brought into the country from the US, accusing Ghana of some human rights abuses and other issues they're raising. So we'll be going into all of that. We're privileged to have on the panel with us Nana Ajamcha will be joining us very soon. She's a presidential staffer. But right here we have Madam Rodelyn Imoro Ayana, public interest advocate. Good morning to you, ma'am. It's always great to have you here.
Great to be here too.
Of course, we'll also be joined via video call by Kofi Bento, who is Vice President of Imani Ghana. He's actually on now, but I want to first get the preliminary thought of Madam Ayana here on the Chief Justice, the dismissed Chief Justice, first of all deciding to, again, go to the court to challenge her removal, this time around, not as a CJ, but as a Justice of the Supreme Court. What are your thoughts on it?
Good morning to our cherished viewers. And good morning to ourselves as well.
Good morning.
I guess this whole issue with the Chief Justice is never going to end. She's come across as a proper litigant. So we should bottle up and actually wait for more suits to come. I'm rather surprised that she would even want to be part of the judiciary right now, or the structure of the Supreme Court. Having read the judgments given by a particular suit that she brought, I think that particular judgment made mention of the fact that whatever decision they were going to have to take before they dismissed, I'm not a lawyer, so it's
certainly,
difficult.
yes, we have Kofi Bento
I'm just trying to
out,
put
yes.
things, yeah. But I quite remember that I read something to the effect that that ruling was going to affect her being CJ and also a member of the Supreme Court. And that judgment, through whatever she brought out, you get me? So already from a suit that you brought from the beginning that they should throw this whole issue out.
Yeah.
You were made to understand that you're asking even for the case to be thrown out. There was no merit in it. And that whatever view that they had about you being a Chief Justice and at the same time a Supreme Court judge held to that position that you could not even function as both. And they felt that they were going to have to take that decision, even though it was painful and hurtful and everything, but they felt that doing justice to the people of Ghana, they had to take that decision. You had to lose that Supreme Court judge thing. Justice Torkornoo, I wish that somebody could tell her that you can't always have everything that you want. You want to come back as a Supreme Court judge. It's a demotion, virtually, because you are Chief Justice. You leave, and then you say, I want to come back. I can still serve as a justice. I don't understand it, because I'm looking at a situation
because
where...
you're the leader of the judiciary, and so that's why you're saying that she coming back as a justice
yes,
is a
demotion. Then you were a leader of a whole structure, and then you decide that now I want to be a subordinate. It doesn't work well. It doesn't sound well. And I'm asking her, if it was her at the helm of affairs as Chief Justice, assuming, and then she, somebody else is brought in that way, would she ever bench that person? Would she ever take that person to sit on any case? You're tainted already. There's nothing that you're going to say that the Ghanaian populace would understand or believe. You understand? You've already tainted your reputation. So the best thing you could have done was to just go home. I think she's a wonderful lawyer. You understand? So she could have at least managed to just go, set up, and wait for posterity to judge you. Whether you were maltreated or you were not treated well or whatever it was, Ghanaians will begin to see. But then for you to always want to fight a whole system, and then continuously you're jumping, you have jumped from here, you've even taken it abroad, you've gone to ECOWAS, and you still don't get it.
But if you look at the writ she submitted and the suit, actually points 16 of her points or her grounds, she talked about she being advised by her counsel and believing that whatever her counsel is telling her is actually the truth. So do I hear you say that you think her lawyers are advising her wrongly?
Her lawyers are advising her wrongly. And whatever external friends she has are advising her wrongly. Those same people advised her, you know, to drag on, go to ECOWAS, go to the Commonwealth Lawyers Association, go to whatever association, and she still lost everything, and you are still believing in that lawyer? That lawyer is actually putting you to ridicule. Your lawyer is putting you to ridicule. There is no way you are going to come back, because from the statement that was issued, you have been removed as Chief Justice and as a judge of the Superior Courts. So that's it. Go home.
So she should fire her lawyers?
You see, I think that right now, she doesn't need to fire them. They know themselves. Maybe she's not paying for any legal fees. Yes, maybe that's why. But you see, I'm looking at a situation where Justice Torkornoo herself should be able to sit and think through. She's a Christian. And I am very sure that she knows that sometimes you are taken from one controversy and then raised in another field. I am very sure that she knows that things of this nature, we have seen people being disgraced. We saw Kwame Nkrumah go into jail and come back as president. You understand? So I don't see why she's fighting.
Nelson Mandela in South Africa.
Exactly. So why can't she just take it in good faith? The position of Supreme Court judge is not something that you can do now, because you have gone to the highest, which is the CJ, the Chief Justice. And I think that Justice Torkornoo should take a break. As a woman to another woman, I think she's stressed, she's traumatized, and this whole fight affects you mentally. You understand? If you do not step back and take things in good faith, you will end up hurting your own self. You hurt your mental health, you hurt your physical self, and all that. And I don't think she needs that. I think what she's fighting for now, and something that she should have thought of, and something that she should have listened to people like us, when we were saying just resign and take your emoluments, take your retirement benefits. Don't do this. Now you've lost it all. She wants that back. So coming back as a Supreme Court judge, she still goes home with those benefits. And that's what she's fighting for. But it's too late. It's too late for you to come back and fight this. People advise you, just go. Go and negotiate your exit with the president of the day so that you can go home with your entitlements. You refused. You could fight.
And I'm coming to you very shortly, Mr. Bento, but let me ask you this very briefly before I go to Kofi Bento, our lawyer and vice president of Imani Ghana. People feel that she still has her right. She's within her right to pursue this case as far as she deems fit.
She can pursue this case until she's 70. It's allowed. Then she would naturally not be even available for CJ. But is that the right thing to do? At this moment in our lives that we are trying to reset a country, we are trying to redevelop our country or to develop our country, we are trying to get jobs. We need that peace of mind. We need that kind of tranquil atmosphere to be able to do these things. And not every day get up and it's all litigation with one person. It is her right. She can continue to do it. No one is stopping her. But I'm saying, to what end?
To what end?
To what
you
end?
Ask. Let me come to you, Mr. Kofi Bento. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Hello, Mr. Bento. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. You
Oh,
hear me?
great. You were muted earlier. Good morning to you. Thank you
Yes.
so much for joining us
Good
on the big
morning.
issue. Yes. So let me find out from you. I'm sure you heard Madam Ayana there with her argument, and even some cases that have already been decided. This time around, the dismissed CJ is in court because she says the petitions that were brought against her were brought against her to remove her as a Chief Justice and not as a Justice of the Superior Court. And so that's what she's in court challenging now. But the other side of the argument is that you're the same person. We're not dealing with two persons. So why do you fight for this? You're a lawyer. Where do you stand on this?
Right. So, good morning to everybody and Madam in the studio. Where I stand on it is that, look, I heard Madam saying she's not a lawyer, and then she proceeded to give some unsolicited advice, and then she made some comments as if to say, why is the CJ fighting this, and how can she come back, etc. That's a very typical Ghanaian thing, and we, often do that. But in a matter like this, we need to appreciate that, one, that the CJ, as somebody who has been a judge for over 20 years, risen to the topmost position in the judiciary as Chief Justice, and also surrounded by her lawyers, etc., is well advised and properly competent to make some of those decisions herself. So I think that the unsolicited advice is fine, but we should not proceed to make some of these emotionally charged, I don't want to say suggestions, but maybe comments.
Mr. Bento, before you
Let me
continue, you think that whatever Madam Ayana said is rather more of emotions. You've heard even lawyers make that same argument.
So let me finish my point. I am saying there is a tendency within the Ghanaian, population for people to give some of these unsolicited advice, as if to say the person does not know what she's doing. And I'm saying that person,
She doesn't need to.
Madam says she's not a lawyer, but that person who we are talking about rose to the highest position in the judiciary in this country. So please, what I'm saying is that there is a reason why she will do what she's doing. And we should hold her, especially when you clearly express that you don't agree with her and you think she should go home, quote unquote. So please, let's leave it alone. Let the woman make her, decisions, and we can make the commentary and other things that we want to make and leave it there. My point substantially is this. Look, when you say things about, oh, it doesn't work well, it doesn't sound well, it doesn't look well, those are the emotive issues. But there is law. And you don't know, but the fact is that the law is better served when it is tested. And indeed, a lot of the cases and things that we apply happen because people rose up to test the law, and then better, explanations were given of the law. All right? It was laid out better, it was clarified better. Today, a lot of the cases or a lot of the situations we refer to are from the Ejechum case. Ejechum is a similar situation that went to the Supreme Court, and they used that opportunity to explain some of the provisions in the Constitution. That is the intention of law, that when the Constitution is written, not everything will be there. So when there are issues and situations rise, you take it there, and it gives opportunity to express the law further. So I'm simply saying that, look, we can say, oh, if left to me alone, I think she shouldn't do this or she shouldn't do that. But when we start adding the value judgments and start sounding a bit judgmental about it, and she's not being advised well, and I think we should tone down on some of those things. Look, as a lawyer, and you ask me if I'm a lawyer, I am happy this is happening. And honestly, just like Madam is saying, if CJ Torkornoo was thinking about herself only, I don't think she will not be able to sustain herself or get another job or do whatever it is. What she's doing, okay, is maybe to her detriment, at least emotionally, but it is to the benefit of the rest of the country.
Mr. Bento,
and we start appreciating some of these things.
Mr. Bento, I'll let you come in, but the question again is to what end? Because already you've taken cases to court that you've had the court say that they were unmeritorious. So why are you going to court with the same issues that eventually, not trying to be prejudicial, but the court may say that you don't really have the facts as you should?
Okay, to what end? Let me explain what the law is. Number one, nothing is final in a constitutional republic unless there is a judicial pronouncement on it or the statute of limitations runs out on it. I repeat, nothing, even when you elect the president, when you are given an appointment to anything, it is not final until there is a judicial pronouncement on it or the statute of limitations runs. If you choose not to proceed to have a judicial pronouncement, then it remains as it is. So first thing that people must appreciate is that whatever is done in a constitutional republic, the courts have a say on it. And if whoever is affected decides to go to court, everything must wait for the judiciary to make a pronouncement on it. And let me explain the meaning of pronouncement. When you say, oh, she's tried here and she's tried there and it has not been successful, that is the design of the system. You start from lower courts. And I can tell you as a lawyer, there are people who lose at circuit courts. They lose at district court. They may lose at the high court. There are cases where the person they lose at the appeals court, they go to the Supreme Court, and then they win. I can give you some of these cases, but I don't think it's necessary. But just take this from me. You can lose every way down the line and win at the Supreme Court. And even at the Supreme Court, there can be a review that can change some aspects of what has happened in the Supreme Court itself. In fact, the Supreme Court can depart from its own judgments in an earlier ruling. So please, let's get this right. This is the kind of system that we run. The fact that she's lost in an earlier situation does not mean it has run out. And until the judiciary makes a final pronouncement, it is not done. So that is why this is necessary. Let her get through and use all the resources available to her.
It means that you dismiss even the argument of senior lawyers who have said that we are dealing with the same person. If you're removed as a CJ, you're removed equally as a justice of the Supreme Court.
I will not use the word dismiss senior lawyers. Listen, again, when you go to court, you may be coming up against somebody who is 20 years senior to you at the bar, but you, that person. The point that must be made clear is that she has not exhausted the judicial remedies available to her. And to that extent, leave her alone to exhaust them. Those who have said the things that you are saying have expressed their opinions. And their opinion may well be the opinion of the Supreme Court. But until that is done, the Supreme Court is the place where the final opinions are given. So to this point, they have expressed their opinions. I have my opinions about the things that she's saying. And like I said from the beginning, if for nothing at all, this helps give the Supreme Court an opportunity to express itself on some of the matters that she's raising. And I'm telling you, some of the matters have very, very serious merits in the law and in reason. There's a lot of merit to it. But I'll leave the merit to the Supreme Court justices to do. So all the people giving advice and everything, it's all nice and well, but they shouldn't pretend that the woman is doing something which is improper. They shouldn't pretend that the woman doesn't know what she's doing. They shouldn't pretend that she's fighting for something she's already lost. It is not done until the final pronouncements are made. And that woman is supremely competent to make her decisions.
And you said
people can advise her, but they should please tone down.
They should tone down. You said that she has not exhausted the procedure in Ghana, yet she found it necessary to go to the ECOWAS court and now has decided to come back. How do you explain that?
Because all of that is part of the process. She is entitled to go to the ECOWAS court. She went, she got her response, and she's back. That did not foreclose her from continuing to use the processes in Ghana. Again, there are laws, and until you come into contact with them, you don't appreciate them very well. But yes, a person, she's not the only person who went to the ECOWAS court. A number of people have gone to the ECOWAS court. You can go there and come back. There are aspects that can go to different kinds of courts. There is international law, and there are laws that are binding on Ghana. So, you see, we all have to learn. You never know what you are going to come up against in the future and what will affect you or somebody close to you. And so when you see some of these things happening, just learn. If you see that, oh, she went to the ECOWAS court, she's back. It doesn't matter what kind of response that she got. It tells you that maybe in certain cases that you might be confronted with in future, you may also be able to go to the ECOWAS court. And there's a reason why that court was formed. When you have a government that is set against you, and you have a situation where the judiciary is also more or less set against you. You have a situation where all the organs of state seem to be set against you because of the overwhelming power of the presidency. Sometimes your only recourse will be to go to places like ECOWAS, Commonwealth, or other places like that. So look, we all should tone down again. Let us learn. She has put herself up to test the systems to their full extent. I think she's doing the rest of us a favor. If for nothing at all, we will learn.
We'll come back to that point you make about the system being against her, because I'll read a bit of the facts as presented in those proposals based on which the committee that was set up decided to recommend her removal. But you say that she going to the ECOWAS court is part of the process. The Attorney General decided not to file a response when she went there, because the office of the AG felt that the ECOWAS court didn't have any power or jurisdiction over what happens in Ghana and the judicial process here. Shouldn't that perhaps give the information that she was out of the way trying to get an external force to influence whatever happens here as regards her?
Did I hear you say the Attorney General did not respond? Is that what you said?
Yes. The AG said that it did not file any response to that case there because it didn't recognize the ECOWAS court as having any jurisdiction or influence at all on what pertains in our judicial system here.
Again, yes, that is what the Attorney General says. But I think it is a stretch for anybody to say that the ECOWAS court does not have any jurisdiction whatsoever in things that happen in Ghana. I think there have been previous cases where the ECOWAS court has made rulings, and some of those rulings have been respected. Again, when you have judicial outcomes, you must just watch, study them, and then learn from them. The ECOWAS court clearly has jurisdiction on certain matters regarding this country. The Attorney General chose not to. And I think it's their prerogative that they chose not to. I don't think that ECOWAS court does not have any jurisdiction at all. I think in future situations, we might learn other things. So it's all part of a process. So like I said, the rest of us who are sitting on the sidelines, the best that we can do for ourselves is to learn and advise ourselves, because you never know when you will need to use those processes, and you have to go and study what went on so that you can get a better outcome. Let
me ask you this before I come to Nanaya Ajantwa, presidential staffer, who's just joined us in studio. You say that the CJ has the right to go ahead with this case because the understanding is that the state apparatus or the entire state is against her. There are those who are even questioning her argument when it comes to Article 146 that she's using she's using to defend her case in the Supreme Court. If you read point 16 of her argument, she says that I am advised by counsel and believe same to be true that the president could not, by the warrant dated September 1, 2025, to remove me from both the offices of Chief Justice and as a Justice of the Superior Court for the following and other reasons. The petitions of Daniel Ofori. Okay, let me just read that. Shining Stars of Ghana and Ayamga Akologo Esquire were specifically for my removal from office as Chief Justice, not as Justice of the Superior Court. When you go to point 19, she says that it is clear that the process for appointing a Justice of the Supreme Court is different from the process for appointing a Chief Justice. 19, so that was 18. 19 says that further, the Chief Justice is the head of the judiciary responsible for the administration of the judiciary, a function not performed by other justices of the Supreme Court. Thus, removal as a Chief Justice does not imply automatic removal as a Justice of the Superior Court, which includes the Supreme Court. And then 20 says that by purporting to remove me from office, both as a Justice of the Superior Court of Ghana and as a Chief Justice by warrant, the President acted contrary to and in excess of powers conferred on him by Article 146 of the Constitution. But if you read Article 146, of course, from Clause 6 to 11 talks about the removal of the Chief Justice. But if you read from 1 to 5, it talks about removal of a Justice of the Court as well. So there are those who are arguing that even her own argument with Article 146 is contrary to what Article 146 states. How do you respond to that?
In short, you are going into the merits of the matter, and I don't think it's proper. This is why the matter has gone before the Justice of the Supreme Court. Trust me, they have better resources and better knowledge and better experience to determine these matters, and we should not go into those merits here. And so I'm not going to go into the merits. But what I will say is that, one, it is clear that there is a matter there. There is a case there. All right? And let us leave the justices to take their time and go through the case. Let me just give you an idea why I say it is clear that there is a case there. And before I get there, you were saying that I'm saying that the whole state is set against that. No, that is not what I said or what I meant. What I said is that when it looks like, when it seems like, okay, all the organs of state are arrayed against you, then you may have to seek help from elsewhere. And there are times when it gets to that position. You have a situation where the judiciary, which is an arm of government, is the one that is arrayed against her, so to say. And the action is coming from the presidency, so to say. So you have a situation where two arms of government, all right, more or less look like they are arrayed against somebody. You get into some of those situations, okay? And when those things happen, you may have to resort to some other facilities that may be available to you. Now, to the substantive issue. Listen, there is a position of a superior court judge, or to that extent, a Supreme Court justice. And there is also the position of the Chief Justice. Those are two separate positions. And if you read the law itself, the law separates them. You go for vetting to be a Supreme Court or a Superior Court justice. All right? And you go for vetting to be a Chief Justice. The law itself sees the difference in the two. The Chief Justice has administrative and other functions that she performs that no Superior Court or no Supreme Court Justice ordinarily performs. So there's a difference there. When it comes to the removal process, look at the Constitution itself. There is a difference there. There's a different bullet for removing a Superior Court Justice and a different bullet for removing the Supreme Court Justice. I can go on and on and on. But the point I'm making is that there is merit to this case. And that merit is not for you and I to determine. It is for the Supreme Court justices to take a hard look at and then make their determination based on their knowledge and their competence and experience. Let us leave them to do so. Those of us who are commenting on radio, let us appreciate that she has done the right thing by taking up the issue, because all of us will benefit whether she wins or she loses. And we will be the better for it because our Constitution will be explained better, expressed better, and some of these dark areas will be elucidated further. So, to the extent that she has taken it up and she has not broken any law to do so, I think she must be commended for the fight. The other issues, rather, which worry me are that, see, in a constitutional republic, like I said, until the justices make a final pronouncement, the matter is not finished. That is why we have things like injunctions. And when these matters are before a court, especially the Supreme Court, the parties must hold their hands. So you may say so, and other people may believe so, and all kinds of things may be said about the fact that, oh, the president has removed her, and yes, indeed, she has been removed. I think that until this matter is really finished, we should all refrain from saying some of those things. We can say them as a matter of, discussion, but the truth of the matter is that there is a possibility which is more than 0% that it can be found that she was not removed properly. And when that happens, there is a possibility, because that's a public office, that she can be reinstated. And in a proper constitutional republic, when these things are still being discussed, are still under adjudication, all the parties, and in this case, the presidency, must hold its hands, because the presidency is not the final arbiter in all matters. It is the Supreme Court. So the merits of the matter, let us leave it to the justices. But for all of us, if you send a matter to court, it is useful that these rules and procedures that the parties must hold their hand be respected by all persons. So let us wait and see what the justices say. But clearly, since the supreme law of the land, which is the Constitution itself, sees a difference in the offices of the Supreme Court Justice and the CJ, the Chief Justice, I think there is merit to these matters. Whether the merits are sufficient to arrive at the kind of outcome that she is looking for is another matter. But let let this process play out.
From one of our viewers for you, and it's because you mentioned that she can be reinstated, and Wisdom Gavor is asking whether, assuming she has been granted to become a Superior Court judge like she's asking for now, can she become a Chief Justice of Ghana again? And you already heard Madam Ayana talking earlier that as we speak right now, her image is already dented.
So again, there are matters of law. And then there are matters of free conjecture. Okay, her image is dented. Oh, she should not be doing that. It does not look good. They are not matters of law. All right. And I am saying these things help expand the frontiers of our law and help explain our law better. It will be very useful to see how this ends. And like I'm saying again, when you hold a public office, nobody owns public office, not even the president. As different from a private employment. In the case of a public office, where it is found that somebody removed you unlawfully, you can be reinstated even with back pay. So let us let these processes run through. As for our free commentary, When we make them, let us appreciate that they are free commentary and it is not law. The law is that you can be reinstated in public office if it is found that you were improperly removed.
I want you to hold on, Mr. Bento, because I need to get the thoughts of Nanaya Ajantua, and then I'll come back to you for your final word before you take leave of us. Nanaya Ajantua, please. You're welcome. Good morning to you.
Back to him. He's spoken for
he needs to answer a particular question.
Any question. Good morning, viewers. Good morning, Auntie. Good morning, Beatrice. Today, I'm saying greetings to my people in Ashanti region, and my condolences is my family, but I'm saying my condolences, and I will be there, but I have to come and finish this assignment. You know, everybody knows that Asante Hima is gone, and Asante Hima is in mourning. So this morning, I stand with my people, my family, to mourn our mother, who will be buried today. Beatrice, Kofi is not speaking again. He's spoken enough. Yes.
Please go ahead with your point.
And he hasn't said anything. He's saying somebody is emotive. Kofi is more emotive than anybody else. Kofi is my brother. He is more emotive. Everything that he's saying, he's putting emotions into it.
I think what we're trying to do is to ensure that we stick to the facts without attacking individuals. Because I didn't think it was fair for him to describe. I did tell him that it wasn't fair to describe Madam Ayane's comments as emotional. So I don't think it would be fair for you to also describe his as such. Him
because you see, the point is that he has no right to say that Auntie Ayane's this thing. Thoughts and contributions are unsolicited. What he's also saying might be unsolicited to somebody else. I don't know whether he's one of the legal advisors to the CJ. The way he sold this thing about it. It is very wrong for Kofi to speak like that, especially speaking to a woman. It does not look well. And an elderly woman as such. So you shouldn't allow him to be on radio, TV, to be talking like that.
I think I did tell him.
Yes,
so
but
I wanted to get the point you're making.
He kept on saying it in other ways. Yes.
And I'm just waiting to reply to him.
Auntie, don't reply. I've done it for you. This is girls' matter. He is not supposed to be here.
So the point, I just want your view on...
What is my view?
Yes.
I mean, this thing has happened. Kofi is telling us that there should be a judicial pronouncement. Does the Constitution say that after the process ends, there should be a judicial pronouncement? Does the Constitution say so? The Constitution, in its letter, knew that the courts were there. But for the removal of the Chief Justice and the Justices of the Supreme Court, they made a provision in the Constitution. Is the Constitution not he should tell us, is the Constitution not the supreme law of the land? Is the Constitution, you see, everybody is behaving as if the Chief Justice is being vilified for nothing. And that is some witch hunt. Do you get me? The MPP are those who are interested, they know, they have the designs for witch hunting. And that is why maybe they are saying so. And I don't know why they are pushing...
You're accusing Kofi Bento of being MPP?
Is he not? You should tell me if he's not. He's my brother. This is not like it's not somebody
that he's on, so he had the opportunity to respond.
Yes, I know. But if he's MPP, what's wrong?
There's nothing wrong with
he should not deny it. No, there's nothing wrong. People belong to parties. There's nothing wrong. And I wasn't even referring to him on this matter. I'm referring to all the assigns, the people who are in court with her, pushing her. You see, yesterday I saw something on your TV, and I was sad. The TikToker.
Yes.
Jail 7 months. This was a guy, he was alone. But behind the scenes, who was pushing him to do what he was doing? As he was, even though he didn't even have a lawyer. And looking at how he looked like, who was pushing him to do all the things? I believe this TikTok thing, you need data, right? This man didn't look like somebody who can even buy anything for himself. So who was financing him to do all those things? The same way Chief Justice is being pushed to go here. Listen to Kofi. Somebody is pushing him to go here, go there.
She said in her affidavit that her lawyers are advising her, and she believes her lawyers.
Kofi is one of them. Is Kofi not one of them? The way Kofi is defending this matter like this, is he not one of them?
He says he's talking as a lawyer.
You see, and Kofi should not speak as if everything everybody has said is wrong. He is not a doyen of the law. He's part of it. And people interpret the law in pieces and in parts. And when we put everything together, you have a whole. Do you get me? So the Kofi is speaking as if whatever every contribution that people have given, it is null and void. It is no law. You see, the Chief Justice is. I'm happy that he said the Chief Justice is responsible for the administration of the judiciary. Which is when all these things were going on. At a moment, I paused and I said, everybody is saying that she's being witch hunted and all that. Let me sit back and see what's going on. I picked a letter and looked at the accusations. Then I looked for her conditions of service to see if actually she was wrong or right. Do you get me? Everybody says she was right to pay per diem to the husband and all that. When we finish, I'll send it to you. When you look at her conditions of service, clauses 9, 10, it talks about official travels. And those official travels, she can go with her husband. And 50% of her per diem will be paid to her husband for that one. And on her private travels, because of security, if you go on a private travel, it's as if you're on leave. And if you're on leave, you go on your own, even if you have an official capacity. So I looked at that one. She is supposed to go with an aide, a security. Do you get me? Because of her protection. But if for any reason, you see, public service is funny. Kofi has been in private service all his life. So he doesn't know how public service works. My dear, public service, you might not have even stolen a penny. But because of procurement breaches, you'll be in trouble. Or some breach of your conditions of service. So when she was traveling, if she went with her husband on a private visit and even paid that 50% per diem, then she had already breached her conditions of service, which is not good enough. In some cases, you'll be sent to court to be prosecuted. Because not that you have stolen money, you have violated conditions of service that has been approved. Okay, so if you want to use a certain portion of a law to suit another section of the law in public service, you write to your superior that I have this opportunity in section 910. Can you vie it for me to use this in section ABC? Because maybe on this trip, I need to go with my husband. I heard people saying that she did it, the finance people did it on her behalf, the audit. No. Now it is even clearer for me. As the head of the administration of the judiciary, you should have at your fingertips conditions of service for even your staff. Who approves it? Maybe the head of the judiciary. The administrative head, she is so. So when they put the paper before you, they bring you a voucher. You know what you are signing. Maybe the finance director will sign it on her behalf. But they will bring it to you. When you are going, you sign for your per diem. Your husband will have to come and sign. So she didn't see, as a lawyer, a Supreme Court judge, somebody who has gone through the ropes, did not see that what she was signing for her husband or what her husband was coming to sign was wrong.
So you obviously disagree with Kofi Bento's argument.
I'm saying that Kofi is not talking about what happened. You see, when Mrs. Sophia Akufu was speaking, she never said that Auntie Saba was right. She said that this does not deserve the punishment that she's getting. But who determines that? Somebody wrote a petition according to this constitution. Is Kofi telling us that the procedure in Article 146 has not been used? If it has not been used, then it's a different matter. If it has been breached by step, even if somebody sends a petition and says that you did not look at my face properly and you squeezed your face and you pouted your lips at me, I write a petition and it goes before a committee as stipulated in the Constitution, and the committee believes that what the person is saying is very, very verifiable, that you did it, Do you get me? The committee can recommend. Number 2, Kofi, you are a lawyer. And you are within the justice system. Me, I am not a lawyer. The people who sat on this committee, does Kofi doubt their credibility? If Kofi doubts their credibility, then the same Supreme Court that the woman is going to, the people are there. Is Mama not there? Is the second one, I don't remember his name. Is he not there? Do you get me? These are the people who are there. And their colleagues. So if you think that a Supreme Court judge who represents the Supreme Court sat on your case and did not do right, why then do you think that today you have to go to the Supreme Court?
The arguments, Mr. Bentel, as well as those who are supporting the Chief Justice's decision to go ahead to petition this case, is that she is within her right to take this, to exhaust the process as far as she wants to.
You say, my sweetheart, I am asking you, did this constitution say that when you finish, when the judgment is given by the committee, you have to be running around?
It doesn't entirely say that, but
does it even give provision that when this thing happens, you can go to the court and do this and do that? It does not say anywhere. It is when the committee bring their verdict, they have brought it. And it's everybody, you see, we should stop also conjecturing. I'm telling Kofi.
But she's, Gertrude Torkornoo is actually challenging even the committee that was set
Didn't
up
she sit there
to look into it.
Why did she go there?
In this latest affidavit.
No, I'm saying that if you challenge it, you shouldn't be there. You should say that I have no confidence in this committee and I'm not coming.
She had already complained, even at her press
It
conference.
is not about complaining. I'm saying that the noises, the law is the law. No matter the noises that you make, you squeeze your nose, you pout your lips, you bat your eyelids, the law is the law. And she taught us that the law, but you don't stop me, you gave Kofi 20 minutes. She taught us, you are laughing, she taught us that the law is the law. Do you get me? Kofi was talking. She told us. So me, I go with Auntie Rodalyn.
Yeah, because she wanted to also respond to Mr. Bentel, and I'll get his final word, then we'll move on to a second subject.
She's not going to respond. I've done it for her. So the point is that, Auntie, don't talk. If you want me to add more, I'll add it
but
for you.
But she says she wants to talk.
No, she'll talk about that, but the response, they have done it.
So if you could wrap up for me.
So that's what I'm coming to. So you see, you
but you've spoken for some time.
20 minutes.
I've been fair to
you.
No,
you haven't. I have been timing Kofi. 20 minutes.
Please go ahead with your point.
So I am saying that the law is the law. For me, has procedure been breached?
You do not think so?
I do not think so. This is procedure. And I've told you, conditions of service. One of the points is very strong. This is what the conditions of service says. And you have breached it as the head of the administration of the judiciary.
And I want to get your final thoughts on this subject, and we'll go to the individuals, the deportees who are suing Ghana for what they claim to be abuse of the right. Madam Ayana, you wanted to make some final comments on this, and then I'll get that last
you
question
don't need
to
Kofi again.
Kofi
No, I'm just going to say that, you know, if you thought that my contributions were emotional and that my emotive and my suggestion was what? Unsolicited. Well, yes, I was just going to say that, yes, I think that one person who might want my advice this morning is the President of the Republic of Ghana, Mr. John Dramani Mahama. I think that by the end of this month, we should be having a new Chief Justice. It is important that this country continues, regardless of whatever noises are coming. We are not lawyers. I'm just talking as a public interest advocate, what people on the ground think. And people on the ground think that what I'm saying is right, I'm not being emotive, and I need to be able to say that this is what it is. So that is my advice this morning to the President of the Republic of Ghana. We need a new Chief Justice.
So you're saying that the acting should stop?
No, the acting should stop. We need a proper Chief Justice, and then this will all end.
Yeah.
You understand? And people might say that it's in bad faith. There's nothing in bad faith. The law is the law.
So the country must move on.
The country must move on. That is one. And a judgment has been reached. She has been sacked, and that's it.
And that's it.
It's because maybe she thinks that somebody is acting. That's why she feels that she can be reinstated. This will not be in bad faith. We have to
she
move
wants
on.
to be reinstated not as Chief Justice. So she has
Yeah,
accepted.
what
now
Benson
she
say?
wants to-
No, Benson
she's
is saying that
asking
if
for-
she gets that, then she can also be
Reinstated.
reinstated.
That's what
As
Mr.
what?
Bento
As Chief
Whichever
Justice.
it is.
So, Mr. Bento,
Yeah, I thought that
if
maybe
you're
a
still on the
Supreme
line
Court
with us, just coming
Even
to you
as
for your
Supreme
final.
Court judge, right?
Yes, just coming to you for your final word. And I know that you mentioned earlier that it seems the state is against her, which is the reason she's taking this route. And that's actually my last question to you before we move on to our next question. Again, if you look at the complaints that came against her, one of them of course, the presidency said stated misbehavior, backed by the petitions that were sent to the presidency in consultation with the Council of State, after which that committee was set up. One of the complaints was about $30,000 that was paid as per diem to the daughter. And again, what people say that we already have precedent, and I'm glad that you referred to the Ejechum case, because in that Ejechum case, in summary, what was said was that the CJ, as the administrative head, is supposed to act and is not immune from impeachment process. That's what the Ejechum said in summary. Again, there's also the Dateba case, where the Justice of the Supreme Court also said that the CJ must comply with provisions of Article 296 of the Constitution. And so if there are precedents there, and even the case that the Chief Justice is even added to her affidavit, that's famous or infamous, depending on how you look at it, whether or not 4 seats should be declared vacant according to Article 97, 1G and H. All of these are telling us that there seem to have been precedents somewhere which should be followed. How do you respond to that?
First, I won't mind Anaya for now, but let me address Madam Ayana. Madam, if my comments sounded as if I was saying you were being emotive, I did not intend that, and I profusely apologize. My point was that in Ghana, when some of these things arise, you hear people give a lot of advice. That's what I said. And I was saying that a lot of these advices, and you said things like, oh, it doesn't work well, it doesn't look well. I said a lot of them are emotional. So I did not intend, what is being said there. So please forgive me if it sounded that way. And I still want to make the point. The point that I made was that the processes have not been exhausted. So she's within her right to exhaust them. As for Nanaya, my sister, who is slashing me, and Nanaya, you should know that I've worked in the public service. I worked in EPA for a number of years before I left. But the point still remains that, please, it's my time. Let me finish. See, it is important for us to know, okay, that she is attacking procedure. And I keep saying that, look, you may think that, why is she doing this? It is good for us. Whether she wins or she loses, it is good for us to exhaust the process. And please, let us all learn this fact that if you are in public office and you are wrongly removed, you have a right to be reinstated. These are all principles. And when we state these principles, we don't state them because of a particular personality. Look, I practice in the Supreme Court. And you will be surprised how many times I criticized some of the judgments that came out of Madam CJ Torkornoo's Supreme Court. On birth certificate and the 7 zeros. And I had my issues about them. But facts are facts and principles are principles. So please, if there is a principle which is amenable to be exhausted in her favor, let her go through the process. That's all I'm saying. And we need to appreciate. I hear people say, there should be a new appointment of a new CJ.
Madam Ayana just said that the country should move on.
It is wrong. And that's the point that I made, that look, when you have legal processes ongoing, the parties must hold their hand. You cannot break the law trying to fulfill the law. As we speak, there are about at least four cases, all on procedure and other things relating to this matter. The proper thing for us to do, and for us, all citizens, to insist on the president doing, is for him also to be respectful and subject to the law, which is to the effect that let the processes be exhausted.
Mr. Bento, let me just get clarity. Are you saying that there shouldn't be an appointment of a substantive Chief Justice until Gertrude Torkornoo, her ladyship, is done with her petitions in court? Is that what you're saying?
That is the position of the law. When there is a matter in court, you do not overreach the law. So you hold your hand and let the matter be exhausted. Yes, that's the law.
She said she wants to be Supreme
That
Court,
is the law.
Didn't say Chief Justice.
Not Chief Justice. What she's asking for
Kofi, she
Kofi
said she wants
to be a Supreme Court
judge, not Chief Justice.
So that position
so she's
has
let
to be
go
filled.
of the Chief Justice. It
Yes.
has to be filled.
Mr. Bento, can you hear the concerns of
I
the
am
panel?
not dealing with the detail. I am simply saying when you have judicial processes ongoing, you do not take actions that overreach the process. So it doesn't matter what she's looking for. I'm saying that as long as the matter is still under
No, you can't say that.
judicial
Please
pronouncement,
hold
you don't
on.
overreach it.
Because she's asking
She's
to
for a
be
specific thing.
to be a Supreme Court judge again. Not as the Chief Justice.
Yeah.
So as long as her petition is concerned or whatever it is concerned,
can still have a Chief Justice.
she has agreed that she's no longer Chief Justice, and that because she's not saying that I want to be Chief Justice. She said I want to be a Supreme Court judge. And so the
Mr.
position of
Bento,
Supreme
I
Court,
think the latest suit at the High Court is clear as regards what her demands are. Are you able to address that very briefly, and then we can move on to our next subject? And I think that's the point Madam Nanaya Janto and Madam Ayana are making. Hello, Mr. Bento.
Sorry, yes.
I hope you did hear my question.
No, I didn't.
I'm saying that the point is that in this latest suit at the High Court, she's asking to be reinstated as a judge or a justice of the Superior Court.
Yeah, that's all.
That's the clarity she brings to it, and that's the point both ladies in the studio are making to you.
I have heard those points being made, and I've also made a different point. I'm saying what she's asking to be reinstated as, for me, is not the issue. The issue is that the processes have not been exhausted. She should be allowed to exhaust. That is number one. The point I made about what that specific issue is that there is a persuasive argument within the law, within the Constitution. And the persuasive argument is the fact that the positions of Chief Justice and a Supreme Court Justice are very different. The appointments are different. Their treatments are different. Their removal is different. In fact, if you appoint a justice, if you make me make my point, you understand me.
Mr. Bentolan, if you could do that in like 30 seconds, please.
Well, the point I'm making is that there's persuasive argument in the law that they are different. To that extent, therefore, it is proper that we exhaust the adjudication of whether removal of a Chief Justice is the same as removal of a Supreme Court Justice. I'll leave you there.
But the point is that Article 146 doesn't allow what she's doing right now.
No, you don't have the competence.
I just referred
you don't
to...
have, let the Supreme Court Justices make that determination. I have a different view, but I'm not going to canvass that view here. And it is not for you to make that determination. Let them, that is what is before the court. That is what is before the court. Let the court deal with it.
Mr. Bento, I would like to say a big thank you to you for joining us. But before you go, let me just get your 30-second view on the deportees who have decided to sue Ghana because they claim, I will come to you, they claim that the country has abused their rights. In 30 seconds, please, and I'll come to the panel.
I do agree with them that the country has abused their rights by the country annexing itself to the unlawful activities of the U.S. government, and the country using its facilities to help further the ends of the U.S. government. Now, they did not have any reason to be here. They have not asked to be here. Somebody brought them here. And I'm particularly disappointed that we as a Black African Ghanaian country called the Black Star will do things like this which affect our fellow Africans. I think it's very bad, and we should stop that thing.
We should stop that thing. Thank you very much, Kofi Bento, lawyer, Mr. Kofi Bento, lawyer and Vice President of Imani Ghana. Let me say that we'll be joined very shortly as well by the Commissioner of the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, Raj, Mr. Joseph Whittal. He'll be joining us very shortly, but let me get very shortly. Before 9 a.m. But I want to get, I want to get your thoughts on the individuals we decided to accept through that agreement with the United States of America, who have now turned against the country, suing us over human rights abuses.
Thank you very much. Beatrice, I first heard it during the press conference that we had with the president. And he said that so far 15 people have been brought in, and I think some number have been sent.
14
or
15.
14 has been sent
14 had been sent to Nigeria.
To Nigeria, where they come from. So it's left with only one. So which is
Gambian.
So which is the 11 that is saying? You get me? Because I don't know about this.
They said they are still detained within some military centers, and the conditions of their living very bad.
I do not think that this president will detain people. They are all gone, because he said 15 came. and there's left with one Gambian, and they are making attempts and they are in a very good facility. They've given them a home and everything, and that's the 14 are gone back to Nigeria.
The bus.
And you're saying this is information you got this morning?
No, I got it during the press.
But that's based on this.
But I am saying that where is the 11? If the president, if the president of Ghana say 15 came, 14 are gone, is left with only one, making arrangements for him to go to Gambia. They are in a very safe and good place. Why should they put them in a military camp? You know Ghana, I mean, would we ever do that? Let's put presidency, everything aside. The hospitality of Ghanaians. Why should we put them in a military camp? And what Kofi is saying, okay, for me, if you have been abroad and you are within this deportation situation, do you know where they put you?
Detention center.
You are put in a detention center. You don't have access to your family. Nothing. You are treated as a criminal. So if Africans are brought home, and especially to Ghana, yesterday, if you listen to Honorable Okujeto Ablakos, he said, if you are anywhere in this world, you are an African, and you feel that you are not well treated, do you get me? You should come to Ghana. We are ready to take you.
We heard the Foreign Affairs Minister say that.
Yes, yesterday.
Yes.
So I am saying that also, who is a deportee? A deportee is somebody who is staying in a country illegally. And for me, this is where I stand. This is my position, not government's position. If you are in a country and you don't have the requisite documents, and you are brought home, do you understand? You are brought home. It's not that we should not be accusing the American government for deporting people. We also deport, don't we? Me, I'm being very clear here. Don't we also deport? Because if you are in a country, you need to have the requisite documents.
But aside from the documents, also, if you are doing anything that breaches the law,
that is what I'm saying. Yes. But you see, for instance, if you are an African, you've been able to naturalize, and you have your papers, and you do anything, you are seen as a native of that country. So you are punished according to the law. If you are not, you are brought home. Do you understand? So if the government of US sees that, unless these people who are talking are not deportees, they have their documents. You see, you can only speak, you can only have rights in America if you are maybe a green card holder or an American citizen who is of African descent and you are being mistreated. Do you get me?
So the point you're making in summary is?
The point I am making is that, one, the president himself said 15 came. 15 came. One person, 14 have gone back by bus to Nigeria. They requested to go. He said they were even given the option to stay if they want to. And they said, because he said that when it comes to West Africa, we are one people. So they were given the option to stay, and they said they will go back. So they gave them a bus to go back. One Gambian left. So me, seriously, I don't know about this 11. I know about the 15. Is it out of the 15 that 11 is swimming? So I don't know about the 11. So we have to find out who these 11 people, if they are real people.
Let me get your thoughts.
Have you spoken to their leader or anybody?
We're here too. But let me get your quick thoughts, and then I'll speak to Commissioner Oshraj.
I took time to find this particular information, and it looks like it's a different one from what the president is telling us, because this particular group of 11 are made up of Togolese and other nationals. But with the president coming out during the press conference, it had to do with 14 Nigerians and one Gambian. That is what we know. This other group that is being represented by Vomowo, I think that it's a different group.
Yes.
And people are brought into this country for different reasons. I mean, you're deported for different reasons, for criminal acts, for undocumentation, for not having a visa, overstaying, so many things. You understand what I mean? So we cannot even tell whom these people are. We don't know who they are. We don't know
whether they were actually brought in from the US.
Beatrice, I find it very difficult to discuss this issue because I am not well informed by this group. All I know is that a group that is being represented by Vamo is suing the Ghana government for maltreatment. And I'm asking, where are they?
Where are they?
Where have they put them? Why haven't we heard about them? You understand? When did they come?
How did they come?
And how did they come? Are you getting me? But let's get back to the 14. The 14 that, or 15 that came, and 14 Nigerians went back, and one Gambian. Stories from the group that I was reading, they were saying that one of them had been the group that came, this 11, one of them apparently had been brought and had been sent back to Gambia and was being hounded because he was a bisexual.
In Gambia?
Yes.
Yes, you understand?
That
Yes.
one, is it our business?
And that one has nothing to do with us. First and foremost, if you're a Gambian, what are the laws governing homosexuality and bisexual acts in the Gambia?
Oh.
And the second thing is that I find it very strange that somebody who has this would even be deported from America, maybe because it's a Trump regime. But if he went during the Obama regime, which was more lenient to bisexuals, I am sure he would have been documented. He would have been documented. So why would he be deported? Do you get me? Then all those other people, the Togolese and the likes, I find it strange that we haven't heard. But this 14 that they had the opportunity to stay because of ECOWAS protocols of movements among ECOWAS states.
Yeah.
And the president did say that they opted to go home. So it was only this one Gambian, and this Gambian who's supposed to be a bisexual, I don't know if he's part of this group.
All right. And I want us to get a very quick word from the commissioner of the of Shraj, Joseph Wetau, because this same story has been published by Labour General, giving credit to the CNN, which says 11 West African nationals hailing from countries including Nigeria, Liberia, Togo, the Gambia, and Mali have filed a legal challenge. Yes, that's the source. They are giving the source to CNN against the Ghanaian government, accusing it of unlawfully detaining them after secretive transfer from immigration detention centers in the United States. The case lodged at the Human Rights Division of the High Court in Accra raises serious allegations of human rights violations and breaches of both Ghanaian and international law. Mr. Wetau, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Beatrice.
If you can tell us what your general understanding of, as regards what's going on, really, what's your general understanding of it?
Right. I think from your discussants, it's obvious that we need certainty about the group that is currently before the Ghanaian courts. For the president's statement during the media encounter, he was very clear that they opted to be transported to Nigeria because there were only Nigerians and one Gambian. But from the CNN reportage, it's obvious that Bakavomo and co are in the High Court seeking a remedy of habeas corpus. That means they are certainly in Ghana because they will not be asking for the bodies of those people to be presented in court if they are not in Ghana. So it means that there are certainly different categories of deportees we are dealing with here. So today is supposed to be the day that they'll be in court and we'll get to know who they really are. But once they are before the Human Rights Court, the Constitution of Ghana provides protection for all persons who reside in Ghana. And they will present their case as to why they think they are being subjected to certain treatment that is contrary to the constitutional expectations that should go to everybody. So that is my understanding for now.
That's your understanding.
Yes, that they are real, they are in Ghana, and that they have counsel and they are seeking protection from the courts of Ghana.
I mean, great point you made about seeking clarity, which is the same point that Madam Nanaya Jantua, as well as Madam Ayana, just said some minutes ago. But what implications do you foresee? I mean, this is already in the international press. Implications for us?
Yeah, well, as for immigration and immigration law, we need clarity because I have listened to the Foreign Affairs Minister. He says they have an MOU with the Trump administration and of course to accept deportees through Ghana temporarily to transit them to third countries. Now, my concern is if that MOU does not measure up to the treaties and conventions which Ghana has ratified in terms of how such deportees should come into Ghana, then we'll have a difficulty. You remember the opposition minority group have signaled that if it is the normal deportation into Ghana, it ought to go before Parliament for approval.
Indeed, per Article 73.
Exactly. But the question now is, the Foreign Affairs Minister seems to want to explain it away with this is an MOU between them and that it does not ripen to the need to put them before Parliament. So there are so many gray areas yet, and I'm happy that this challenge is coming up because the application is seeking clarity. They will bring their facts before the court, and the Attorney General will be able to give the facts from the government side so that the Ghanaian public will be better edified.
So, Mr. Whittal, I'm glad you talked about the MOU because those who are making arguments, especially against what the Foreign Affairs Minister said, they talk about also Article 75, and it's very short, so I'll read that to you. The President may execute or cause to be executed treaties, agreements, or conventions in the name of Ghana. So would you say that Ghana breached this very article by doing this without going to Parliament to ratify it or for ratification, because the Foreign Affairs Minister doesn't seem to agree that there was a need for any ratification?
I would not fault the government right away because, one, the use of the word temporal, they are passing through, they are being deported through Ghana temporarily on their way to their nationality of origin. And so they are not going to be here. And so why would they have to go before Parliament? But we still need to get clarity. If the people are taking advantage of the laws of Ghana, that if you take us to our home countries, this is the treatment that is awaiting us. Ghana, in the International Community of Nations, has a duty to protect these people. So it will then ripen to having to approach Parliament for approval to legitimize their status. That is, if the court rules that they ought to be protected and be made to reside in Ghana.
Mr. Whittal, we're grateful that you made time to join us this morning on The Big Issue on TV3.
Thank you, Beatrice.
Thank you very much, Joseph Whittal. He is the Commissioner of SRAJ, the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice. Thank you so much for sharing those views with us. Of course, he's also a lawyer as well. That'll be it for The Big Issue on NewDay on TV3. So once again, thank you, the Commissioner of SRAJ, Joseph Whittal, for joining us via video call, as well to you.
That if the people are incarcerated,
yes,
in some military installation and they are being mistreated, who is releasing them today to appear before court?
Let's hope that we'll get some clarity.
So why don't you call
the
their lawyer?
Yes,
no, call their lawyer.
Our time is up. I mean, we have news.
I mean, later on.
Our news coming up, so we certainly will get an update
because
on that.
It does not make sense.
This whole thing doesn't sound right.
Sure. Thank you very much, Madam Nanaya Ajanto, our presidential staffer, for joining us on The Big Issue, as well to you, Madam Rodelyn Imoro Ayana, public interest advocate, for joining us on The Big Issue.